It's been over a month since I moved to New York, which is crazy. It's flying by so fast, especially since I had Fashion Week recently. That was super fun and busy. Now that it's over, it's time to wind down and get back to my regular scheduled programming, which means more regular uploads on YouTube. Now that I've been living here for a little bit, I feel like I have some idea of what my expectations were before moving versus the reality of what life has been like after moving. So, the first thing that I noticed is that my kind of expectation versus reality was very different in the sense that I thought it would be easier to make friends in the city than it actually has been. Don't get me wrong, I have met a lot of people and I have slowly started to make new friendships. I'm still developing those too, but I also didn't really expect how tricky it would be. I guess I should have expected this because as you get older, adults in general are not the best at managing every part of their lives. Like there's work and then family, relationships, friendships, hobbies, whatever it may be, self-care. So I guess I should have expected more that people wouldn't be super responsive to when I try to text them or make plans with them, but I was surprised, I guess. I didn't know that people would be so unresponsive when texting. Because of that, I've noticed that I haven't been able to hang out with some people frequently, or things have just kind of fallen through. And it's actually funny because this is one of my biggest pet peeves is when people are not good at texting back. It really grinds my gears, especially when you're trying to make plans or follow up on plans. I hate when people aren't responsive. But I guess that's just the reality of being an adult and choosing how you want to prioritize your time. So overall, I haven't been taking it personally or anything, but it is something that has been a little frustrating for me since moving here. The next thing that has been really surprising is that my skin has actually been a lot better since moving here than I would have expected because typically when I travel, my face breaks out really bad. Maybe not during the trip, but definitely like after the trip because of all like the pollution differences and the air quality differences and whatever else like skin dryness. Being in airplanes can also make you break out too because of how dry the air is. But surprisingly, I haven't really broken out. I've broken out maybe like once or twice since moving here, which is pretty good compared to what I expected. I have this feeling that it's because of the skincare I've been using. I've been using all like Korean and Japanese skincare, specifically Korean skincare from Mixsoon. I have a ton of their products and they make up like 90% of my routine. I think that has been a big reason why I haven't broken out. I also use Curology whenever I break out too, so that helps. And pimple patches have been really good too. So, yeah, honestly, I'm amazed how good my skin has been. It could also just be that since I'm getting older, my hormones are chilling out a little bit more. I don't know. But I was definitely surprised. I really thought I was going to be breaking out during the first month of living here. So I'm very happy that I'm not. Something else that's been surprising is even though I know how big this city is and how populated and dense it is and how many cute girlies there are around everywhere to meet and hang out with, the city is really smaller than you would expect. I feel like a lot of the people that I've met actually know other people that I've also met or am friends with. For example, so there's this girl that I met sort of recently, and we met through social media. We hung out, we got dinner once, and we were chatting, and I was telling her about my roommate that I live with, and I showed her a picture of my roommate, and she was like, "Oh my god, I'm actually having dinner with her next week." And I was like, "What?" Because It's such a big city, like who would have thought that they ended up knowing each other? So I was really surprised by that. And just things like that have been happening in general. I also have a photographer friend that knows a girl that I recently became friends with. She's a model, he's a photographer. It makes more sense that they know each other, but I feel like things like that have been happening quite a lot where people just seem to know each other, especially the longer you've been living in the city, the more connections you're gonna make and the more people you're gonna grow into your network and are gonna know you and you're gonna be able to work with or do things with or hang out with. So I just thought that was very interesting how connected my circle around me seems to be to one another. It's really funny, honestly. It also makes me think of maybe how many people know me that I don't realize know me, that I haven't met yet, that have heard of me through someone else that I know, if that makes sense. It'd be interesting to find out. The next thing that has been maybe a little silly, but still surprising, is how many attractive and successful people live in New York. Especially when you go to certain areas that are more gentrified or upper scale, like near Central Park or Soho, Chelsea, the financial district. There's so many people that are walking around and they just look like they have their life together, they know what they're doing, they have their family, their 56 floor studio apartment, and 3 kids, and a dog, and a cat. Like, there's just so many people that look like they have everything in life, and it's crazy. There's so many people around me that I feel like look so established and confident and like they just have everything together. It's crazy because I'm not used to seeing so many people walking around in general, of course, outside. But since there's so many people outside walking around at all times of the day, it makes you think like, wow, there really are so many different types of people in the world. Everybody has their own life, their own story, their own timeline, their own goals, things that they're pursuing, things that they've already achieved. Probably a lot of accomplished people around me. For some people, the idea of being around so many different type of people might feel kind of overwhelming or too busy or overstimulating. For me, it can be like that sometimes, especially when I don't want to be outside and I don't want to interact with people. I'll be like, oh my god, why is everybody always outside? Like it's 10 a.m. on Monday. Why are people walking around outside? But the other half of the time when I'm feeling more presentable when I'm going out to do something, or even when I'm just contemplating life and things, I feel like seeing all the different successful, attractive looking people makes me feel like I want to push myself to be as productive and persevere as much as possible towards the things that I'm trying to pursue being here. So honestly, it can feel quite motivating, I would say. It makes me feel like this push that I could always be doing something to get closer to my goals. I could always strive to be better in all the ways that make me a person. So honestly, it's a good thing overall, I would say. The next thing I've noticed is kind of related to what I just talked about, and it's the idea that people are either really friendly here or they don't give a shit. For example, I've noticed sometimes when I'm like struggling to carry something or get around the city or I look lost or something, 90% of the time it feels like nobody tries to help. I would say maybe not 90% of the time, maybe like 80% of the time. I don't know. I feel like people just tend to stare at you and watch you struggle to do things or just ignore you instead of trying to help you, which I guess I'm not used to that because where I'm from, there's more like of that like southern hospitality and people really try to be very welcoming and helpful towards you, whereas here people really more so keep to themselves and focus on themselves and their lives and aren't as friendly and open. So that's something I feel like I kind of expected, but experiencing it is a little bit different because that's not what I'm used to. And honestly, even when people are really friendly, especially men, I always question their intentions. Like, are they just being nice to be nice, or do they have like an ulterior motive? Because you never know with people in the city. They could be secretly weirdos or creeps. The next thing that has been surprising is this urge that I feel constantly every day that I need to go out and do something productive towards my career. I have this feeling like every day I should be going out and getting content or hanging out with friends or going somewhere or just doing something that's gonna further me for tomorrow. I literally have this note on my phone that says, do one thing that makes tomorrow better. This mentality that I've sort of developed since moving here really fits into that, where I feel like I need to be doing something outside every day and not just stay at home in bed, or else I feel like I'm not taking advantage of living in New York. The whole point of me moving to New York was literally to put everything on the line and put everything in me into the city and hopefully get what I want out of it. So this is probably not the most positive kind of mentality that I've developed, but it has its ups and downs. It can be good sometimes, but it can also be overwhelming sometimes. So I think I'm learning to try to balance that. It's a process. The next thing that has been challenging is just experiencing all the different barriers to really breaking into the modeling industry. I feel like I could talk about this quite a bit, but to not go into it too deeply, I just noticed that I've had conversations with people where we both acknowledge the barriers that are present to maybe somebody like me getting into the modeling industry, but people are not super open to actually being a part of the change that they recognize needs to happen in the industry. That has been frustrating, to be honest, because I can only change so much, I feel like. Like, I've moved here, which was a huge change in my life, but I can't grow taller. I can't obtain the perfect model's body without pushing myself to the limit. I can't force people to want to work with me or notice me or whatever, but I feel like I'm doing almost everything that I can to get to where I want to be in modeling. But there's some things that I feel like are forces that are out of my control, and a lot of it has to do with people's attitudes within the industry. So that's something I'm dealing with right now that I feel like has been very challenging, very frustrating. But I feel like I'm doing really well with collaborating with other creatives, doing trade for print photo shoots, working with showrooms or stylists, and wearing more designer brands for brands that I'd love to work with. So I think I'm working in a lot of ways to get past these barriers, but it's an ongoing challenge that I'm currently dealing with for sure. And my next point relates to this, where it's really about personal brand versus connections, where I feel like I have really curated a very specific sense of style and who I am and what I'm passionate about and things I like to create and who I create for. I feel like I've really honed that fine art of it, and I feel like I do pretty well at it too. But there's only so much I can develop my personal brand and strengthen it. Whereas a lot of the opportunities I want, I feel like honestly really do come down to who you know, so your actual connections. And that's gonna take time for me to build because I just moved here and I haven't experienced a lot, but a lot of the things that I want to experience in my career and in life are really coming down to not just who I know, but who I haven't met yet, and the conversations that I haven't had yet, and the rooms that I haven't been in yet. And these personal connections are just gonna take, honestly, time to build, and it's also gonna take patience, of course, which is not my strong suit, but I'm working on it. I think being vulnerable and talking about it with my friends has helped. So I think I'm on the right path to not getting too down in the dumps about it. But it really is crazy that you could push yourself as much as you can and become really good at what you do. But sometimes all that matters is who you know or who you don't know. Something else that I've noticed is that it doesn't hurt to give people more than just the first impression bias of what you see. Because if you give people a chance, sometimes you can have a really good conversation with them that could lead to something really amazing. And this has happened to me recently where I got stopped by someone on the street. And to be honest, since he was a guy and he wasn't dressed in a way maybe that I thought he looked like super professional or anything, and just like the way that he stopped me, and I was with my friend too, and he also was with a group of guys. One of them stopped my roommate that I was with too, and they were just talking to us. The vibe I got was that maybe they were trying to hit on us, but I was definitely very wrong. It ended up being someone that owns an agency, and I was really surprised because I didn't expect that. Like, I wasn't really dressed up. Like, I was kind of dressed up, but I was wearing ballet flats. Usually I wear heels when I go out because I like to look very tall, but I was wearing flats, so I didn't look tall. I was my petite height, and I was just really surprised that somebody who had an agency would stop me when I looked kind of like that. But after speaking with them, I realized, oh my gosh, it's really important to be polite to everyone that you meet. And after talking to them and actually making a connection with them and following each other on Instagram, it turned out really well. But it made me realize, like, you can't always judge a book by its cover here. Like, sometimes the most important people you might meet here will look like the most average person, or like what you wouldn't expect. So honestly, as long as it's not like a scary situation at like night or something and I'm all by myself, I feel like I need to be more open with people maybe coming up to me, because I never know who I'm gonna meet when I go out the door every day, which is a really exciting thing about living in New York. Something really positive that I feel like I want to talk about is how nice it's been that I can go out so much more now, and there's so many people I can meet and hang out with and do things with. Honestly, guys, like, you don't even understand how much more I'm able to go out now and just have a lot of fun and create really nice content now that I live here compared to before. Before, I would only like really go out to do content back at home, or just once in a while when my friends would want to hang out. So my life has definitely changed a lot. My day-to-day lifestyle, I'm walking so much more. I feel like more fit and I'm doing a lot. I'm collaborating with amazing people, and I've had some really fun, nice experiences that I would not have been able to have back at home, because I do have a day job actually. Like, I work remotely and stuff, so I have to stay at home during the daytime and work Monday to Friday. And back at home, that was a big reason why I would stay in during the week, but also I didn't have any much reason to go out during the weekends other than content. But here, even though I do have my day job, it's very flexible, it's remote, so I'm able to go out and do things even during the week and the weekend. So it's like literally every day feels like the weekend, and it's amazing. I'm really, really enjoying that about the city. The last thing that I've realized is that patience and discipline are extremely, extremely important. And they're also very much worth it, because there's been a few times in my life where I felt like I was trying so hard, chasing after something in my career, in my life, that I feel like I'm not getting much closer to, or I'm never gonna achieve. But slowly over time, I've hit small milestones or goals, or I've met special people that I feel like could help me get to be where I want to be. And if I hadn't been patient and kept pushing and kept persevering and stayed disciplined and doing what I do every day and being open and putting myself out there, experimenting, I wouldn't have achieved all the things that I've achieved in life. I know I'm very far from all the things that I want to be and do, but I'm also not that far, because I'm closer today than I was yesterday. And I really do try to follow the idea of doing something every day that makes tomorrow better and makes me become closer to the things that I want to achieve. So that's something I've really been trying to hone into myself, is that you need to be patient, you need to keep trying, don't become discouraged, keep persevering, and you will see the results that you want to see, because I have to believe within myself that I'm worthy of all the things that I want to achieve, even if I feel like I should have already achieved them and I'm like questioning, why haven't I done all these things yet? Or I see all these people around me, my peers, doing all these amazing things that I want to do or I believe that I should be doing too. That's something that has been a very long struggle for me mentally and emotionally. But at the end of the day, I need to practice patience and self love and just continue to believe in myself and what I do so that I could get closer to the things that I want to achieve in content creation and modeling, and hopefully being able to quit my day job soon. But yeah, that's everything that I've realized since moving to New York. It's been a lot. It's been a whirlwind. It's been really fun. It's been hard, but it's also exciting to think about all the things that are to come. I want to know your guys' thoughts or anything you want to hear more in depth about with my experiences here. I'm happy to see what you guys think about everything. And I'll see you again very soon.